Hello everyone, welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision, an N-scale inspired HO layout. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. It's a day late, but Monday's better than not at all. Hope it enables you to enjoy the start of your week. Was delayed one day because of the Chiefs game, which we're not going to talk about. And it's good to have model trains to work on to get your mind off of things. This is an update as of today, January 31st, 2022. And we are working on the peninsula finally. You're looking at Castle Rock, the Union Pacific line going through there, the train going uphill on the modern line, and in the foreground you see the original line. And this is going to be modeled in the peninsula. So today we're showing what the construction of the peninsula is like. So here's the lower level floor plan, or track plan I should say. And I did take the time to map out and plan out exactly how this was going to be constructed with the L-girders and joist. And instead of building from the wall out to the peninsula, I decided to start at the end of the peninsula and then work my way back to the wall. So, started with just building the basic inside rectangle of the end of the peninsula. You can kind of see what the aisleway is going to be there. And I wanted to do it this way because I want to make sure I got this centered just exactly where it needed to be to allow room for the sofa and chair and TV area here. And then also I want to make sure that it was centered between the wall and the peninsula, and then from the peninsula to the other part of the layout there. So you can kind of see I did a lot of measuring and moving it back and forth until I got it exactly where it needed to be. I of course looked at the track plan drawing that I had done and figured all that out and got it, I think, exactly where it's supposed to be. Once I did, then of course I began to expand on the rectangle and build the rest of the L-girders. You can kind of see the basic shape of the end of the peninsula here. This is going to be a turnback. The radius for the main line, the modern line, is going to be 50 inches, so it'll be a nice broad curve. The original line is going to be much, that's going to be on the inside of the loop, and it's going to be much tighter, all the way down to 32 inches, but the 32-inch radius will be inside the tunnel, and then the rest of it will be like 40 inches. You can see some of the cross bracing I did for the legs. This came out to be really sturdy. I was really surprised when I put it down just how stable it was. And it's ready to go to get from now the peninsula, the end of the peninsula, back to the rest of the layout there along the wall. I did allow for some access points inside the peninsula, so I can hopefully, maybe at some point, if I need to, and as I'm working on scenery, I can get on the inside of it and have access to all parts of the layout. All right, so you see a little bit of expansion, kind of building the peninsula back towards the layout. Again, I was really wanting to visualize and see exactly what the aisleways were going to be. That was real important to me, and also wanted to make sure that there was ample room for a sofa and a chair and a TV. Kind of want to have an area for the crew lounge. I also wanted to have an area for my grandkids to play video games and stuff when they're here visiting us. So you can see I built one section back towards the layout. This is where Wahsatch is going to be. You can kind of see how things were constructed. Now, to make the initial connection from the layout to the peninsula, you notice this one piece of L-Girder is 131, almost 132 inches long is what it's supposed to be. To actually connect the two, let's see exactly how long it comes out to be in real life. It should be 131, almost 132. And I was really impressed with myself when I came up with this. I mean, that's pretty much right on. I gave myself a pat on the back that came out exactly according to plan. So once it was how it was supposed to be, I cut a piece of 1x4 and put it in place. That is, I've been using two 1x4 by 8 foot pieces of lumber, and I could have bought a 12-foot piece of 1x4, but it was a lot cheaper just to buy a couple of 1x8s and then splice them together. Menards here in Illinois is having a sale on 1x4 by 8s, $3 a piece, which is really a good price. So I've been buying tons of them. I haven't been using any 1x3s on this section. I've just been going all 1x4s since they're so cheap. They're actually less expensive than the 1x3s for some reason. You can see the splice there. Now, once I put that board in place, that means I no longer could walk across the room. So at this point begins the having to walk around the peninsula to get from the Echo Canyon area over to the Evanston area, or on the other side of the peninsula. So I officially cut off access across there. Here you can see I have all the legs in and braces and so forth. Still turned out to be kind of wobbly. It was stable at the ends, but the benchwork going from the end towards the layout turned out to be pretty wobbly. And it had my son-in-law here yesterday to watch the Chiefs games, which we're not going to talk about. But he did come down and give me some advice. He's a mechanical engineer, so I definitely value his opinion. Here you can kind of see with the aisleway, that's about 34 inches. So the problem I'm having with the wobbling is I'm having an access point in between there, so you have basically two narrow pieces of benchwork. I'm going to put a no loitering sign right there, because it's going to be enough room for somebody to go through there, but you don't want somebody standing there and blocking the way people want to go from one place to the other. That's where Evanston Yard is going to be. So anyway, it's kind of narrow, the two sections. I wanted to have this access here so that I could, again, get in between here and be able to work on the scenery, make any repairs as needed. So that's going to be an access point, but it did make for some narrow pieces of benchwork that are freestanding, and so it's kind of wobbly. I'm going to have to continue to work. Now this is wider here. This is like 9 feet across. So not a problem with the stability here, but then on those two pieces down there, it turned out to be pretty wobbly. So been working on a few ways to see if I can rectify that. I want it to be stable. Here you can kind of see the amount of room that there's going to be. You kind of have an overview there. This area here by Echo Canyon and the Emory control point, and then going here into, you can see me, I was wobbling it, you can kind of see it shaking. Yep, it's pretty shaky. It gets a little bit sturdier when I put the joist on, but I think I'm gonna have to continue to do some more things to get it to be stable. I may have to attach some of the legs to the floor. We'll have to see. Here it's much more stable, maybe a little wobbly, but much more stable than down there. All right. Anyway, I put some joists on there. I'm still checking the wobble. Still a little wobbly, but I do have the beginning to put some joist on. All right, we know that it's wobbly. But we are adding some joists, again, stable over here. Can definitely see the difference. So what I'm going to do is attach the layout to that actual pole there, and I might use that as a point of stability for the layout. So what I did is I got some galvanized strapping that's used to hang pipes, wrapped it around the pole, secured it to the layout on this point, and then also on this side, and I got it so that it was really tight against the pole and not able to move it. There's pretty much zero movement there. And then I use a piece of wood to attach the two pieces together. Now that means kind of cuts the access point in half. It just means a little bit more crawling underneath that. But it did definitely stabilize things a lot more. Everything is kind of attached to the pole. Still is a little bit of wobble in the middle. But anyway, here's what it looks like right now. You can kind of see the aisleways that we're going to have. This is pretty wide here. That's like 6, almost 7 feet. You can really kind of get an idea of the curves that the trains are going to take. That's going to be one of the sharper curves down there, especially for the original line. It's going to be like 44 inches. And then it'll go down the road. This will be the Castle Rock area right in here, where the two main lines are going to be separated from each other and at different grades. So this area, the original line will have like a 1.7% increase or incline. The modern one is going to be more like half a percent. I still have to put some joist around the end of this peninsula here. Still working to add those on, but you can kind of see how it all turns out. There is access there again at the middle. I'm going to be moving these shelves. I keep removing them. I'm going to remove one more section, so there's just going to be 2 sections here. I want to make sure that there's more room here, and then also coming around here, don't want this sticking out here. I'm going to have a lot of room for people to move around the layout. So definitely going to be moving stuff as I sell my N scale stuff. I'm going to be needing less and less space there. So it should be pretty good. So this is how it all turned out. This is where we are right now. We'll not have an update this coming week. I'm going to be out of town. So I'm going to take a break on the layout for a little bit. So next update won't be until February 13th. So thanks so much for watching. Take care, everybody.